Are you planning on reading book 6?
Short answer is no. Long answer is I can be convinced.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Like I feel like I need my trust earned back, but I would happily read more if it was good.
Same here. I would just be so glad to be wrong here.
Time for the latest installment of Change My Mind, where we rationalize our overpassionate opinions on subjective media. For this installment, we return to Dragonsteel Nexus 2025 to tackle the subject of Wind and Truth. Last year, Brandon Sanderson released the 5th and final book of the Stormlight Archive, or at least the first half of the Stormlight Archive. I and many others had been looking forward to its release for quite some time. It marked the ending of a journey that lasted 15 years. Unfortunately, however, I found myself hating the book. I thought it was a horrible ending to the series and for the main characters that I had grown to love. So I thought I would go to a place where I was guaranteed to find people who had also read the book, so that we could sit down together so I could finally find out if the ending worked for anyone else.
It's better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all.
And first up we have Holden, who it turns out was just the person I was looking for. You see, one of the many elements that made this book different from the others in the series was the drastic shift in scope. Wind and Truth spends a lot of its time dropping Easter eggs and teasing crossovers between other series in Brandon Sanderson's shared universe called the Cosmere that we will be getting in future books. And while we have known that this has been coming for a while, I thought it was an odd choice to drop into the finale of an otherwise mostly self-contained series. The problem this creates is that while it might be exciting for longtime fans, it's potentially really confusing for readers whose first Cosmere experience is the Stormlight Archive. It seems that it would make a lot more sense to start crossovers in a new series so that readers know what to expect. And it turns out my suspicions were correct. Here's proof in my conversation with Holden.
Okay, so I'm here at Dragonsteel with Holden, and I've found the goose that lays the golden egg. I have been trying to find this person for an entire year, because every time I discuss Wind and Truth, I've wondered how this 5th book would be received by someone who has only read the Stormlight Archive and not any of the Cosmere. Now, Holden, you have since read more books from the Cosmere,
Yes.
but Stormlight was your first experience.
Absolutely. Yes.
Right.
First experience, and as a standalone conclusion without involving any other Cosmere-aware implications. I felt that it was disappointing for just the amount of buildup that was based throughout the series, main characters that were listed, and just how many threads were left undone and only for the sake of brushing off the fact that this is, Arc 2.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like a satisfying conclusion anyway as a standalone series when you're thinking of those characters. And I mean, I have my specific points about that when it comes to, Shallan. But yeah, I just find too with Kaladin, as well as like his conclusion at the end with the Heralds, wasn't really something that felt worthwhile, even though there was information kept in the book that I found satisfying. Like,
Yeah.
I got
There are parts of the book that I love.
Yes, and even in that case where I don't find it to be a satisfying ending, it's still something that I would recommend people continue to read or even go through or find your own conclusions about it, whether or not you happen to be Cosmere aware. But yeah, it I don't know, it felt like it didn't stick the landing or wasn't a full conclusion or a lull in the middle, and I'll have to be convinced to continue through with Arc 2 by some other folks. But yeah.
What character specifically was the most disappointing in the character arc? Like you mentioned a lot of buildup that wasn't paid off.
Oh, okay.
What was the worst case of that?
Oh, Shallan. Yeah.
Shallan?
Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, and that had to do with all the interactions with the Ghost Bloods. It felt just tremendously disappointing. A lot of things were also built up to, having multiple Spren at that point was, a nice little dynamic shift. But yeah, it felt like 5 entire books that just led up to a very disappointing confrontation at the end and kind of her being adrift.
Great.
So,
okay, I have a follow-up question about
Mhm.
Ghostblood specifically because I forgot how much this bothered me. What is their goal? Do you know what they want at all?
no. And
I don't either, and I've read all of the comics.
which given that there is some element of mystery that works well, such as the nameless things over in Tolkien's mythology, that there's some satisfaction within having unanswered questions. However, if you dedicate a certain amount of time and don't leave it as a show not tell type deal where there's just things in the background kind of going on with it, versus we are very much dedicating entire chapters to the Ghostbloods. You need to give some breadcrumbs, even if it's incomplete or a subversion.
And I get, Ghostbloods is going to be his next series, right? But they are a significant presence, a threat, a villain in the story, and I didn't understand what they wanted.
Yeah, which motivation is a huge element within any kind of storytelling, where if you don't have a motivation for somebody who's considered you have to invest time in this antagonist, then it becomes really difficult because they're introducing conflict, but conflict for the sake of conflict without what is the reason that they're here? It isn't that satisfying unless you build out some other Cosmere aware ideas behind it. But if you just went from what was listed in the Arc one, it's impossible.
Okay, what did work in Wind and Truth?
Adolin and any of the other kinds of peripheral characters that weren't necessarily Knights Radiant or related to anything a little bit more powerful, I guess. The human stories that were kind of worked out in the end felt satisfying in that way, which was strange that the big protagonists, the people with the most powers, you'd think they're going to have their moment to really shine and conclude and create a nice stuck landing there, but that didn't happen. But for every other side character that just didn't have powers, it felt like things got fleshed out. They had a proper conclusion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Awesome, man. Anything else you wanted to hit on?
But we'd be here a while.
I know. I've talked for I don't know how many hours on YouTube with. Yeah, it's way too much.
Well, yes, and of course there'd be something here, but
I assume because you were talking about Kaladin and Seth, with what you were saying about expecting them, people to participate, and yet for me it felt like, hey, the world is ending in 10 days. Why are you sending your 2 best fighters off on a side quest?
Which, yes, felt tremendously, disappointing from the side of Kaladin. However, I guess within this whole, without giving away the spoilers, how they decide to deal with things in the spiritual realm, that felt very conclusive, even though it was still a bit of a non sequitur. However, for Seth, it felt better to get some of those backgrounds in Shinovar, as well as him having somewhat of a happy ending was just, I guess, a basic pathos thing of being satisfied that he's just with the sheep and his wife, and that felt good, but it didn't feel great from an angle of where was he at in Way of Kings to where did he end up in Wind of Truth? So mixed feelings about that, but beneficial. And then when it comes to Kaladin, he needed just to be a bit more central to the fact that, one, he's going to be in the background in Arc 2 as far as I understand it. So
yes,
it does feel like a huge letdown. Who was the initial protagonist, and then you see where he ends up, which of course you increase the ensemble. It's harder to keep all those plot threads going.
So I can't think of a better destination for Kaladin to arrive at. Herald Kaladin is, yes, that is perfect. My friends and I were all debating, even before the first couple chapters, that King Kaladin was a King Kaladin was a possibility, because none of us thought Dalinar was going to be alive by the end of book 5.
No.
So we were King Kaladin, and then Herald Kaladin was a better answer. I was that's even better than what we were thinking. But ironically, while I loved the destination, I I've hated his journey for the last 2 books.
Which, we all know how contradictory that is. But so, yes, I would say that you have to suspend kind of the initial motto to say that, okay, there's a satisfying conclusion with him, but the journey and leading up until that point was, not as well done. And also, just in terms of how the heralds shaped out throughout the, final 2 books for me, it was more of a like, oh great, I have some answers, but them as characters felt like, okay, this is probably going to like list through in the arc 2 of where they feel directionless now, even though they're trying to like reassemble who they are as people or as entities, I guess. But
Well, thanks so much for talking to me. I know you already have to go to a new panel, but are you planning on reading book 6?
Short answer is no. Long answer is I can be convinced.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Like I feel like I need my trust earned back, but I would happily read more if it was good.
Same here. I would be so glad to be wrong here. Yeah.
I hate that I hated it, and I want to like it.
God.
But thank you so much, Holden.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
It's so great to chat with you.
Yeah.
God.
Thank you.
Glad to answer your question.
I found him. I found. I'm so happy. Thank you.
So there you have it. I finally got the answer to the question I had been asking for a year, and I couldn't be more happy. Holden and I pretty much agreed on everything we discussed. So next on the list is Nate and Blaine, who enjoyed Wind and Truth and tried to prove me wrong. It was a long conversation, and while I don't think they were able to change my mind, they did present some good arguments, and I actually think I was able to change their minds, just a little bit. So here you go.
Blaine.
Nate. And Nate. This is a terrible microphone, so we'll try and pass it around. So the premise is I was surprised to find myself not enjoying Wind and Truth. I thought I was going to love it. It was on when I do my like year wrap-ups, it was my most anticipated book of 24? 24, yeah. It came out at the end of 2024. It's been a year. Okay. I didn't like it. It didn't work for me, but I would love to hear from people who it did work for what did. And you've said you both have mixed feelings on it. You both gave me an okay for the. You gave me a good, but there were arcs that didn't work. So if I'll try and sum it up as best as my opinion, and then you can counter or agree. My problems with the story were there wasn't a single character whose arc I found satisfying, with the exception of Sigzil, who's not even a main character, right? I loved his ending. I had problems with all of the other ones. Adelin's story was the best part of the book until the very, very end. I didn't like that. Yeah. I didn't think it was just a good place to end a legacy. And I know there's more to the story, right? But the next 5 books will focus on 5 new characters.
And be several years from now.
and we know who they are. Not coming out for another 6 years, right?
I believe
it's so the next focus is Lift, Renarin, Relaine, and then the 2 heralds whose names I always forget. It was the boy girl who were grouped up. For the man and woman, they're not.
They were a little old.
It was the 2 heralds who were fighting together. Shalash. There you go. He's a true Stormlight fan here. Shalash and Talon.
No, Yasna's book 10. Yeah.
Oh, Yasna might be one of the main characters. Maybe it's just Relaine or Renarin.
Yeah,
they're probably not both of them.
Order,
so likely going to be lumped together. Yeah. Okay. So
does that make Relaine a lump crab? A lump crab meat?
Right. Yeah. So we will get more. We will get more from the main characters, but they'll be in the background. There'll be cameos, right, showing up, and I thought that their endings were very dissatisfying. And on top of that, and it might not, and this is extenuating circumstances. Moshe, the editor, retired, so it was a different editor, and so on top of the narrative problems, there was a very visible downgrade in writing quality from book 4 to book 5 for me as well.
All right. So, do we need to hold the talking stick?
It's probably, yeah.
All right. I did notice that there were some. I don't know what the proper terminology is. Not anachronism or
Anachronisms.
anachronism. Okay, but like
a modern
date,
language
wasn't
present.
which yes is attributed to the the Cosmere kind of a lot more mixing in and things.
Yeah, it is modernizing. That is
Adolin using the word dating. I noticed. I'm like, hey, wait a second.
Yeah,
and that could.
And they provide the use of the word therapy, which Hoyd did point out. It didn't make me like it better. But
I mean, I was one of those that didn't love the "I'm his therapist" line, but when Brandon said he liked it, I'm like, well, you know what? He wrote the book, and I'm not going to hold that against him. But that was I would say it's good. I don't think I would go excellent, even if that were an option.
What didn't work for you?
What didn't work for me? Mostly it was those anachronisms, like we were talking about. I think that was the part that stood out to me most.
But you weren't just satisfied with any of the character arcs? Which one was your favorite?
Adolin, definitely. Adolin, he held.
I think that's everyone agrees.
He was like the dude's rug. He really pulled the book together.
Yeah.
But I think the part that really struck at me that I really don't like at the end of books when the magic disappears.
Yeah.
And
it disappears. Yeah. Like
Stormlight is gone. Stormfather. We might get something from Stormmother Sill now that that might be where it's going, which I would be okay with. But the loss of Stormlight,
it's almost going to feel like a different series.
It is definitely going to.
The whole planet is different.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Then Brandon said he's kind of referring to the last 5 books as the Voidlight archive.
I hadn't heard.
Oh, you hadn't? Yeah, no. It was kind of somebody mentioned that on. I read it, and
that feels accurate.
And I could kind of see how that would be, because it's the Fuse kind of rule the place now. Right now. But that really makes me go, no. I loved this world. I loved what it hit. Those, but if we don't have that,
I feel like if it was called something, if it was like a sequel series, I'd be more inclined to accept it. If it was Stormlight 2, but it's it's from the start. It's been a 10-book plan.
Who knows? He may just say the Stormlight archive was those 5, and the Voidlight is the second 5. But I bet he'll probably still keep the 10 Stormlight just for branded continuity.
Yeah.
This is a living series and a living document, essentially, right?
And it is unfair to judge it halfway through, but he has said it's 2 solid arcs. Unless we want to wait for 15 years to have this conversation, we got to start something.
We'll meet back here in 15 years. I
fully understand it's not done yet.
Yeah. But the Wax and Wayne series wasn't supposed to exist.
No.
We weren't supposed to get that. It was an accident. It was great. And we loved it. A waxident. A wingcident. These things tend to change over time, and we tend to, as things get flushed out, ideas change, right? I have with me a copy of The Way of Kings Prime, which is a very different book than what actually got very different.
I haven't read it yet.
And I'm grateful. Not that I don't like it, but
it's a curiosity. It's a good curiosity. It's a Way of Kings, the official publication, is a much better book.
Have you read Dragonsteel?
I have not read it. I own it.
Those are the 2 I haven't gotten to.
I'm currently reading it, and anyway, you guys haven't read it, so I'll avoid commenting.
Even Sanderson said it's not good. It didn't get published. It's not up to his standard.
It's not up to his standard. It didn't get published, but stuff from that can and most likely will be used in future.
The War on the Shattered Plains was taken wholesale from Dragonsteel Prime.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
I would say that the thing that I've been discussing with my friends over the past several months since we've read the book was that I feel like, unfortunately, Brandon Sanderson kind of pulled an Icarus here. He flew a little too close to the sun and got burned. He tried to do something very ambitious, and I think the thing that he did was ambitious was breaking it up into days. Part one, part two, day one, day two, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. It's a different structure.
Exactly.
Which I don't think was inherently bad.
That was the thing that he did great.
Yeah.
And I loved that format.
Yeah.
The problem is it caused an undercut of some of the actual character progression, story arcs that ended up falling a little flat.
I liked the idea, and I don't think it was used enough. Like, this is a countdown to the end of the world.
Yes.
But days like 2 through 7 felt like they weren't rushing. They weren't in a hurry. You know,
that's just the Sanderland.
People were dragging their feet. You're like, well, the world's ending in 10 days. Why are we sending our best 2 warriors off on a side quest?
Yeah. I will say, in terms of individual arcs, I did.
Yeah, which one? Adolin.
I loved Adolin. I did enjoy Kaladin's arc. I did enjoy it. I thought it was a nice, wholesome read. I do understand why people don't like it, and it doesn't really fit in with what we've experienced in Stormlight so far.
With Kaladin, for me, it was I think he ended up in the perfect place. I think the destination was great. I didn't enjoy the journey, ironically, for the series, and that was the case for most of the characters. I think the only ending he could have is, becoming a herald. That's where he needs to end up. But his journey in this book was miserable to me. He wasn't himself for the rest of the book. And
he was also a backseat character.
Yeah, if
Seth.
he retires and becomes that, but he spent the whole book being boring. He was a therapist and a battery.
I did really like. I personally really like when mental health and mental wellness is discussed in books.
Yeah.
I think it's a very important part of everyday life, and I think that we, as people in general, need to have more discussions like that. But I do agree that he took a very passive backseat role in this entire book, in his whole arc.
It made Seth's story really good.
Yeah.
And it made his boring.
Yeah. I don't know what he could have, I don't know what Mr. Sanderson could have done to sort of how he could have done it differently.
Yeah.
It just did feel like something was missing, and it was Kaladin's edge.
His what?
Edge.
Edge, yeah.
His sharpness.
Yeah.
Other story arcs, it was really well done. I hated Yasna's arc.
That's my least favorite.
But I have to say, the emotions that I feel are appropriate, and I enjoy that I feel those emotions.
Okay.
Because
she felt out of character to me.
She got swindled.
Yeah, I can understand. I like it. I don't need every character to win. So I like that she lost. The way that she lost was embarrassing to me because her defining characteristic is she's the smartest person on earth. Roshan, right? That's her character. Is she's really smart. She reads books. She doesn't believe in God. And I feel like she lost a debate to someone who was using grade school speech and debate tactics. His arguments were logical fallacies that anyone who's done debate would have known how to refute.
The biggest problem isn't the actual logical arguments that he was making.
He didn't make logical.
It was the fact that he just had the supernatural ability and awareness
to find her specific weakness.
To find the weakness, poke at it, and reveal it to Fen.
Find her blind spots.
And then abuse them. He didn't need to be good at debate.
But it was the fact that she was bad at it. And that's her character is, I'm a smarty pants, It felt so out of character. I was shouting at the book the whole time, no, say that. that's not an argument. Like his argument was essentially, you've made a mistake one time, and that makes you a hypocrite. Therefore, your argument is invalid. But that's not how logic works. And also, that's not what hypocrisy is either.
His main argument was
that would include everyone on Earth who's made a mistake, right?
we have evidence that I have evidence here that you have a tiered hierarchy of people you care about.
Yes.
And
yeah.
in protecting a higher tier, you would destroy a lower tier.
And I wish that was better communicated, because, and I get what it was trying to do, but the execution was what failed for me.
Sure.
The
Yeah.
destination was fine. The journey, I didn't like.
I think a lot of this book always comes back to the prose.
Because the example that he uses to make that argument is, you had an assassination contract to kill the queen, who was a literal traitor. That was a good thing that Jasmine did.
This was before,
and she doesn't even bring it up. She doesn't say, hey, no, she got the king killed.
This was before. She was a traitor.
Yeah, this was years before
But to have a contingency plan,
this was before she was.
Bad thing.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
That's Batman's whole thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. I agree that having contingency plans and accounting for variables and not using those variables is actually a mark of intelligence and patience.
Yeah,
and sort of
not
trying
acting
to be
on them is a proof of morality, not the lack thereof.
Trying to be optimistic while maintaining caution.
And I think one thing, it's not that Todium had. Oh, it's not. Yeah, Todium.
You got it. Got it.
Terravodium.
Yeah, it's not like
Todium. I haven't heard that one.
Oh, really?
No.
Anyway, Todium didn't have to win the argument. He just had to make Yasna look bad in front of Fen enough and create that doubt in Fen's mind.
I get that.
And Fen's not a great debater. She's not a great argument. Yasna could win that argument and could win every argument, but as long as Fen was basing her emotional response on that.
But I feel like Yasna didn't even try to defend herself. Bring it up, say no, I did that because she was a bad person,
The biggest problem is that intelligence without preparation cannot be wielded.
Yeah.
It cannot, and she prepared for the wrong argument.
Sure. It made her look. She didn't prepare any argument. She didn't argue.
She did prepare an argument, but none of the. Imagine going into an interview for a job, and you have a list of questions that you're expecting the job interviewer to ask you, and then they ask you, "What's your opinion on this politician?" I'm just like, and this is a coding interview. What are you doing?
I wanted. It fell flat for me. Obviously. And that's used in court too. You appeal to the emotion behind it instead of the rationality because you're trying to win over the juror, not be correct, right? But I don't know. It didn't work for me. I wanted them to lean. I don't think anything you've said is incorrect, but I don't think that was the case that Taravangian presented well. It didn't. I get the idea behind it, but I don't think the execution relayed that same message. And then so and Fen decides to make a deal with the devil because someone
makes a deal with the devil and she loses access to the sun, the idiot.
that's the better choice. That was it's frustrating. Frustrating.
I think Fen was still scared. It was still, she was more rattled than she thought about the stable boy saw her naked, or the cabin boy saw her naked earlier in the book. I think she was still kind of rattled by that.
Yeah.
That was weird.
3 books ago.
I didn't like all of the.
That was that same book.
So I would want
the one where the cabin boy saw Fen and her consort in the bunks. That was an Oathbringer.
No, that was
no. There was in the hammock.
Yeah,
maybe there was another scene in Oathbringer, but
good grief, Fen's.
I don't remember that Oathbringer, but there's a hammock sex scene in the first third of Wind of Truth. It was in the release chapters. I remember talking about.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There was.
It was an interlude. It was an interlude.
It was an interlude. Yeah, it was in the interludes. There was some shower sex.
People be gotten jiggy.
A lot of that felt a lot more
we're out here saying yes, mating.
And none of it was like graphic.
No.
It was
No,
definitely
yeah.
a lot more
Yeah.
has ever been in a Sanderson.
He was trying
to-
family
else-
friendly.
He was trying
Fade
to
to
top
black.
Warbreaker for
Yeah, Warbreaker gets steamy, but it fades to black.
Yeah.
Okay. It says, and she knew what to do, and then fade out.
the old Kirk boot scene, as it were.
Our bodies listened to each other. Yeah, that felt, sex fell out of place for me in this one.
I was like,
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge fan
I'm not
of
too
the.
much of a prude.
I'm not. I mean, I'm glad it didn't go more
Yeah.
descriptive, but I'm not. I mean, if that's the way you wanted to put it, then you know what?
Fine.
It's not something I'm going to say, hey, I'd really like more of that.
Yeah, that is one of my least prioritized contentions.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's not. It's not. It's not enough to bring it down a full point like sometimes like other movies I've said that have had content of that where it's just felt completely out of place. But Shalon had to get a baby somehow, and there's only one way I know of.
So, are you guys excited for book 6?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
I am not going to let myself be excited for another 3 or 4 years, because if I do, I will suffer for the next 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
Well, Rhythmatist fans.
Rhythmatist fans, that's me.
Yeah.
Warbreaker is my favorite book. So,
Have you read Rhythmatist?
yeah.
Okay.
And Rhythmatist is great.
Oh yeah.
I'm looking.
I'm
forward to
used
Talk
to
about cliffhangers.
I'm used to not getting what I want.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's fair. And yeah, we gotta wait another few years for Warbreaker as well.
I thought Nightblood was coming between the Ghostblood. I thought it was coming in one of the mid-year releases.
No, those are Elantris
He's
2
put
and
it, he's
3.
put it off again. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
well,
we're getting
He's
Elantris.
writing.
Woo!
He's writing all 3 of Ghostbloods, and then while editing those, writing the 2 Elantris sequels.
okay. For some reason, I thought Nightblood was going to be one of those. I didn't realize it was.
No,
I need to look at my
that won't
timeline
be for
again.
another 10 years, at least.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Unless he secretly writes it.
This is all available on the Tor Publishing website if you want to check it out yourselves.
Yeah.
And we are not spoiling any. We are not spoiling any happenings. This is publicly available information.
Yeah. We spent a lot of time on Yasna. I also thought the abandoning the oaths thing, it worked the first time when it was Sigzil, and then he used the same plot twist 3 more times, and I was like, this isn't surprising anymore.
If your problem, if your life sucks, hit the brakes. Don't need to keep no oaths.
I didn't like when Seth got really cool and then I'm good.
Gave it up.
And then
that kind of tags in.
Dalinar does the same thing, and then I didn't think Adolin was going to, but he definitely teased it, and then he decides at the end. It turns out oaths aren't important to me. I didn't like that message of the book either, because the whole series is building up. The whole series is building up that idea of oaths are important, and then it felt like this book was a rug pull. So I get you can be a good person and still make oaths, but then why did we spend so much time on it?
Well, I think that Adolin was on the track of, just because an oath, oaths for the sake of oaths,
Yeah.
like honor
Yeah,
was.
that's what he said.
He was like, no. But I don't see much. I don't so much agree with the distinction between a promise and an oath.
Yeah, that was silly to me. It's this
I
kind
mean,
of the
I
same
can see
thing.
how somebody might think that way, and I'm not so invested in the no distinction that I start a tussle over it.
Yeah.
But that didn't.
It was kind of the same argument people use. I don't believe in marriage, right? Like it's just a
It's just a piece of paper.
It's just a piece of paper. Well, no, it's a symbol of your commitment, right? Like, yeah, you can be a faithful person in a relationship and not be married, but it helps. You know,
The tax breaks are nice.
the
The
tax
tax
breaks are
breaks
very
are
nice.
nice.
it helps to have a symbol of your commitment. Like
I mean, a ring.
it
A ring
doesn't-
is a symbol.
Yeah, I know you can be a
another
good
symbol.
person and not make an oath, but that doesn't mean that oaths are bad.
I would say that the underlying point of Adolin's art is that oaths aren't bad,
Yeah.
but bad people can use oaths to perpetuate evil. And that's sort of the point of his art, right? The whole, you can make oaths to, I guess to bring it into a modern day example, you can make oaths to certain groups of people, like the wealthy class billionaires, and promise to make an affordability agenda that's centered around them that causes affordability to decline for the others, the lower class, the working class, the middle class, etc. And you are not violating an official oath. I think the difference between promises and oaths are oath is like capital C connection,
Yeah.
like a cosmological, magical connection, whereas a lowercase c connection is just like, I have friends and I'm connected to them because I like them and we hang out.
And I don't know if that comparison works, because that's not the kind of oaths that the Knights Radiant were making, right? Like, if you look at the oaths, it's like, oh, I'm going to protect people at all costs. It's not like, oh, I have a contract and guess what? There's a loophole. Like.
But if we look at other oaths, like the Edge Dancer's oath,
Sure.
I will remember those who are meant to be forgotten. That doesn't disable Edge Dancers to go and commit genocide.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think Emberdark. Yes,
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. I think that we're seeing those active loopholes and exploitations of oaths and the degradation of oaths in general, considering that Rosharans in Edge Dancer are just fascists, just like the Malwish.
Is that the
They're both.
It's the Scadrians.
Yep, the Malwish and the Rosharans. Because remember, the Rosharan in the shard plate said, come under our control, we will give you 1 out of every 100 birds, and that's it. That's our only offer.
I forgot he was in the book.
Yeah.
He's in like 2 scenes.
Yeah, he's literally that one, it's literally like a paragraph. Or,
there
sorry,
weren't any Rosharans in the story. What are you talking about?
Yeah, 1 chapter, glowing green, which I think is very cosmologically, scientifically interesting, and essentially said, glowing green, which to me says lifelike, which is a very interesting idea.
There could be a bondsmith. There could be perhaps they found a way to get a bondsmith spread off planet.
Yeah,
which would make sense to have on a capital ship, so that you'd have unlimited investiture for your invested weapon.
They found out how to have radiants who work not off Stormlight but lifelike in general.
Sort of a lift
Scenario, something like that, right?
Where they just straight metabolize it.
Yeah, or just able to use it, because we saw in Sunlit Man that Nomad can just use investiture and then create a connection to a planet. And it doesn't have to be Stormlight, even though he's technically a Radiant. A Fallen Radiant twice over, but he's technically a Radiant. So there are ways to go beyond, and I think what is prescribed for individual magic types. And I think that just comes from what we are going to see as technological advancements moving to the future.
Sort of like converting an AC adapter for investiture.
Yeah, basically. It'd be like creating a spike out of a material that isn't a metal and then jamming it into someone's eye so they can see investiture.
Well, that sounds crazy.
Well, I think maybe if the book did a better job of going what you're explaining, like hey, you can get away with bad things, and I don't know, like that didn't feel like the message of the book to me. I probably would have liked it better if it drove that home.
Yeah, really hit that.
Yeah.
Like, you know, there are two horses in your head. One that you're a dead horse that you're beating, and a horse that you're leading to water but you can't make drink.
Yeah, I didn't want to hate the book. I was very surprised. Very surprised. But I almost didn't finish it. I had to.
You gotta power
force.
through it.
I had to force myself to finish. And ironically, for a book that was about
the capstone
about
of the,
curing depression, it gave me depression. I was in a spiral for 2 months.
Well, it was the capstone of what is up to this point Brandon Sanderson's biggest and most beloved series.
Yeah.
Like the meat and potatoes of the Cosmere.
Well, yeah, and
ended on a sour.
Well, for years it was. I said Stormlight was my favorite fantasy series of all time. Now, Wheel of Time is my number one.
That's forgivable.
That was always number two, and I'm like, Stormlight's even better, but the ending.
Well,
didn't do it for me.
I got it. One thing that keeps telling me is that people are, the whole. You said earlier, don't judge. People, say you can't judge it until it's done. But we're here. But I think it's like, I always refer to it as, if we judge Stormlight entirely by how things ended at The Empire Strikes Back, it would be depressing as all holy heck.
Yeah, but we all knew Empire Strikes Back wasn't the end of the story. And
right.
He should have started with the back 6 books and then did the front 6 through 10 and then started with 1 through 5 after that.
Yeah, like for
Star Wars had it right.
I feel like
Star Wars had it right.
I feel like book 6 has to win my trust back.
And that's fair.
I'm not excited to start it.
Well, and Lift has been somewhat of a divisive character.
I think she's good in small doses, and
I think she's gotten better over time.
I think if
and that will continue.
Her character matures 20 years, it would. I hope she's more palatable. I think she can get annoying. I don't hate her character.
Every teenager is annoying. Yes, I said it. Every teenager.
Yeah, that's not untrue.
But every teenager is annoying in somewhat, and I think that Sanderson does a good job of portraying kind of that some immature mindset in her.
Yeah.
And I think that 10 years studying with Vasher, Vasher has no patience.
Vasher's my favorite character of all time.
We love Vasher in this house.
Yeah, Vasher's a very good character.
Okay, so what was your favorite character beat or arc? Like which one left you with the best? And I'm not like plot for the whole book, but which one had the best ending? Which one
the best
really
beat,
like?
The best beat?
Yeah.
The single beat? You mean
the best ending?
Okay, the best
Which
ending.
character
beat.
arc ended the best for you? I could have asked that much more clearly.
I personally liked Adolin's arc. Even the end.
Even ending with musical chairs.
I loved Unoathed Armor.
Yeah.
I loved the working. I loved the whole Maya is like, don't worry, I'm bringing them back. I'm bringing them back. Don't worry, I'm gonna be there soon. And she gets there, and she's like, "What do you mean, honor spren?" Armor pops up in the middle. Yeah. That was such a good scene.
95% of Adolin's story worked for me. I just didn't like the unoathed thing at the very end.
I loved the unoathed thing.
He's definitely the best part.
I think that the unoathed arm up bit was the capstone of his entire arc of.
Let me rephrase that. I liked the whole they show up and he gives swords to everybody. I just didn't like the philosophy behind his explanation of oaths are bad, therefore we are the order of the unoathed. I think the plot, not twist, because it was a Chekhov's gun that we knew was going to show back up. I think that was a good.
Yeah, Adolin's whole being able to work closer with Maya and being able to bring her back and to get some of the shard blade ability. Yeah, I'm in agreement with you on the oaths being it's not bad things, but I think that Adelin's still dealing. How long has it been since Oathbringer was published to
Less
Wind and
than a
Truth?
year.
Less than a year.
Less than a year in the book.
From
There was like a There was a 9-month gap in between Oathbringer and Rhythm of War, something like that.
Yeah,
it
but-
could have been shorter.
It was
So,
there's a short time skip for Rhythm of War, but Wind of Truth starts
Immediately.
the day.
Yeah, they had 10 days. They had 10
so-
days.
So that's a lot. That's even a year. Even if it were a full year, that would be a lot to work through. Hearing your father
Found out my dad
make
killed
the
my
worst
mom.
confession he could possibly make,
Yeah,
and Adelin's, Adelin's not gonna get closure from that in the traditional sense. If the whole, however the whole Blackthorn friend pans out, I'm giving that one the side eye. I mean,
Blackthorn felt like a cop out to me. It was like, oh yeah, but he's still here. Like I still
It's
got
like
what
a
I want.
reverse
It's like-
Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah, it was like bringing a character back from the dead, and I get it's going to be different, and I hope it's used differently. But I don't know, it felt like a
that could be one of Adolin, one of Adolin's progressions is like this is the
if
specter of
Adolin's
the man.
character is just haunted by the Blackthorn appears to him in his dreams, from like the
maybe.
Dark One does for Rand the entire series.
Yeah, I'm curious how that's going to be. I believe in Sanderson's writing enough to think that I don't think I'll roll my eyes and say,
I hope.
but maybe I'm too much on the train. Maybe I'm too
Yeah.
much on the train.
Yeah.
But I don't. I think that if he can pull it off satisfactorily, I think he can. If anybody can, I think he can.
The thing to consider is that after Stormlight 5, we got Isles of Ember.
Yeah.
And Isles of Ember Dark, so good.
Oh yeah,
Amazing.
Sixth is amazing.
Yeah.
I freaking love the guy.
I love his half of the book.
Not so much Starlight?
I thought Starlight was kind of lifty to me. She was a little annoying.
Real. I
Yeah.
love Starlight.
I didn't hate her, but
I think that
I
she
see
I
exactly-
definitely like the one half of the book was way better than the other.
I think that she is the perfect foil for Dusk.
Mhm.
I think she's
Yeah.
like Vathi or Vathi plus, right?
It felt weird to have a 1,000-year-old.
She's
no,
100.
no,
No.
she's less than 100.
Sorry,
She's
sorry.
80.
80.
She's 80?
80?
She like because she turns 30 in the prologue,
Yeah.
and she turns into a dragon, and this it's 57.
She's a
years
young
later.
dragon.
Yep.
She's still old.
Mhm.
She felt way too immature for me.
I think that
120 is age of majority. For
I think is
dragons.
that I think
So she's like a 14-year-old, maybe like a 15. Technically, she's like
mid
a
to
20.
older teen.
She's like a 20. If you actually do the math, if 30 is 8, then 57 would be about 23. But if she hasn't reached age of majority, then technically, I would imagine that the age scale is logarithmic,
Okay,
Which
thank
it
you. That's
is.
what I was looking.
right? So
You got this.
like 16,
You are such a
17,
nerd, and I love it.
maybe. I'm a rocket scientist in my day-to-day, so a very mathy guy.
Okay, I'm out of my element here.
That's great. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, so
It's just funny.
she
to
is
hear
a
it put
teenager.
that way.
She's a teenager in all essences, right?
Yeah.
Accurate to teenage, and teenage characters I can also find
Yeah.
rather.
It's the frequency. Like I don't inherently hate Lift's character, but when you get a lot of her, it gets a little grating.
I would
So-
say that the whole point of
She wasn't.
Starling was that she started as a Lift character.
Yeah.
Perky, optimistic, energized, silly, and life. We are in the middle of watching life beat her down and beat her down and beat her down, and she finally breaks, and then Hoyt steps in.
She was much more palatable when she was together with Sixth,
Yeah, I think.
Yes,
but the first
So
chunk,
Sixth or
the
Dusk?
first
Which is
chunk
the
where she was
he
proper
calls
alone.
himself Dusk. He
Okay,
prefers
so
Dusk.
Okay, so what?
Danger calls him Six.
Oh god.
Danger head ass. Danger head ass.
Oh hell! Now I need to take a shower.
I enjoyed
Dage
I enjoyed
bag.
Emberdark. I enjoyed Emberdark. It's not my favorite of his books, but
Yeah. I would say that my personal favorite of his books was Yumi and the Nightmare Painter. That book had me sobbing at the end. I loved it to pieces.
I think the kind of the semi smaller scale of
The one shot
Emberdark. I really like that because looking over it, I find that the books I enjoyed more are the more localized.
It was what's his name? He does the Sun Eater series.
Ruokio?
Also, yeah, we've been talking for a long time. You can leave. You can wrap
I've got another couple of
Okay.
minutes.
the Sun Eater series.
Yeah, Ruokio?
Rokio. He said something great. It was scale doesn't determine quality.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I think it was pretty sure it was the Sun Eater guy. He said like Marvel's got this huge problem where they keep needing to one up themselves. He's like, and they don't realize all you have to do is you can just go back to the beginning, and all you have to do is just hurt the main character really badly. You're like you can write a very localized story that has no stakes.
Yeah,
and it can still be
no
great.
big universal scale stakes. We've got a great
doesn't-
movie set called the John Wick series. It's about a guy who wants his dog.
He wants his dog.
He wants his dog back. He's upset because someone harmed his dog. The stakes are relatively small. They have no implication on national security, the fate of the world, the state of the universe. But they were incredibly entertaining movies.
Scale doesn't determine quality.
Yes.
So that was a great one.
Yeah. Very
That
snappy.
is a good.
Very.
I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna use
Yeah.
that.
Cool. Well, thanks for talking with me. I think you made some good arguments, and
It was a good
I would
discussion.
have preferred if those arguments were made in the book.
Yeah.
But I wanted to love it.
Yeah. I would
And
say
and I
that
hope it gets better.
over time, when I finished reading it, I really enjoyed it, and then over time, I'm looking back on it like, if you had asked me,
Which one's your favorite story?
Oathbringer.
That's very
A man of
that's
taste
valid.
and
That's
culture.
valid.
Yeah, I would probably Oathbringer and then Way of Kings.
Yeah, I think it's hard to beat. It's hard to top Way of Kings.
It's really good.
Way of Kings did so
Solid.
much lifting
So
to
solid.
get that world established,
Yeah.
and
It's,
it did not feel as direct. It did not feel to me.
yeah,
the-
it's the ending for me. The sacrifice of hey, we have an opportunity to finally be free, and we're going to give it up because we're moral people. Bridge forward. You just can't top that. All right. Well, thanks for taking your time.
Hi, YouTube.
Yeah.
So there you have it. It was a fun conversation, and I am honestly glad that some people were able to enjoy Wind and Truth. It just didn't work for me. And that is honestly a part of why I was there. I wanted to find out why people liked this book. It turns out that doing these interviews was just one of the stages of grief for me, bargaining. So to even things out, the final interview is with two lovely young ladies who only thought that Wind and Truth was okay. And even though they were somewhat disappointed with the ending, they were actually able to present one of the best arguments I had heard all day. So here is that conversation.
Yeah, so I've just been talking to people here at the convention about Wind and Truth. It seems like you guys both said it was an okay ending. I was very surprised to find that it did not work for me, and this is kind of like one of my steps of grieving, right? It's one of the steps, like acceptance, right? I'm trying to understand it, and so I've been trying to talk to people and find out what worked for them, and maybe I'll find something, figure out why it didn't work for me, right? I'll just explain to you my problems, and then we can go from there. I think the fundamental themes didn't work. I was disappointed with the character arcs, and it felt like the entire series was building up to something, and then he changed his mind and decided to go with Wind and Truth instead. So feel free to disagree.
Okay. I feel a little bad. We're rereading it now, but we're very early in the book.
Yeah.
So the ending, I sort of remember all the big things, but I don't remember the small things.
Yeah.
There were a couple things that I did feel were forced, and I felt he put in because the fans were kind of asking for it.
Yeah. I heard agree. So I've been to Dragonsteel 4 years in a row, and every single time he gets asked the exact same question, even though he's answered it 100 times, he always gets asked how are you so good at talking about mental health in your books? and he's always said, and his answer is always the same. It's like, oh well, I like to include what I see in the real world in my books. It would be disingenuous to not include the, but that's never been the point of the story before, and I don't know, I feel like that changed. like it kind of became the focus instead of just this is something interesting about the character.
I think it definitely changed into. I thought the whole therapist Calton was funny. Like when Wit said, "You're going to be the first therapist," I laughed at that. I thought that was funny. But that did become a big thing with Kaladin of like, I feel bad. These people feel bad. I can help them to feel better, which will make me feel better. I did kind of like that. I don't feel that way personally.
I don't hate the idea of therapist Kaladin as like a retirement, but having him quit the fight 2 books early to become a therapist didn't work for me. Like the concept is good, but the execution
I came around to it after a little while. Again, just part of it because of him coming from where he was coming from in dealing with his own like PTSD from
I think
all
it's
of
a
that
good.
stuff.
I think it's a good direction. I think it's good growth, and it came out of order. For
But
me.
that's and that may be the case because it definitely like at first it kind of felt like, this is where we're going. But the more I reread that piece of it, it was okay. Well,
you've reread Wind and Truth?
Wind and Truth I have not reread, but the others I've reread. Okay. So Wind and Truth, truthfully, I just haven't had a chance to redigest. But so I'm still kind of going off my initial impressions with Wind and Truth, and I agree that it did feel a little forced with the whole heal the heralds.
I've been absorbing this book for a year and trying to process.
Right.
Yeah, and everyone pushes back and like, oh, you just didn't. You had your own fan theories, and that didn't happen. Your head canon was shattered, and that's why you hated the book. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I didn't. The themes didn't work.
But he also kind of had some basis in that he'd already been helping other soldiers at that point, and so it wasn't like it was completely.
Yeah, but when the world is ending in 10 days, I get it. Yeah, mental health is important, okay, and therapy is good, but also the house is on fire.
Right,
you don't have time to sit down and ask. So how do the flames make you feel? Right.
Right. Yeah. No, that's totally fair. That's totally fair.
I forget about the whole 10-day thing because even though each one's like end of day whatever, it's like there's so much that happens because he has to go through so many people over the same day. I always forget that this is.
Yeah. Did it ever feel like? Because for me, I like the concept. Again, hey, it's a countdown clock to Doomsday, and day 1 felt hurried, and day 10 felt hurried, but then 2 through 9, people were dragging their feet and going on cognitive realm vacations, and he sent the 2 best warriors that exist off on a side quest, and spent and then wanted to take notes on in the spiritual realm rather than using or developing the atomic bomb that Navani spent the entire last book creating. They don't even use anti-void light at all, or think about how they could use it. The only time it's used is by the Ghost Bloods, so the bad guys show up and use it, and Navani is Oppenheimer and invented the atomic bomb and then didn't use it to end the Doomsday.
No, that's. I mean, those are definitely all fair as well. So
Okay, so I've been complaining too much. I want to hear from you guys, and my audience has already heard from me. But what did work for you? Like which character arcs were like, yes, that you've already talked about. You liked Kaladin.
Yeah, I loved the Dalinar ending, as heartbreaking as it was. Because just seeing his whole journey from where he'd been to where he winds up, it was a good place for him to exit if he had to.
Yeah.
Right?
I agree.
The Dalinar part I thought was perfect.
I don't think there was any chance Dalinar was making it out of book 5. I'm not disappointed that
In retrospect, I see that. Yeah.
that he dies. My problem with his story too is he used the same plot twist 4 times of abandoning oaths as a tactical decision, and I loved it for Sigzil because it also happened first, right? And I was like, wow, that was really cool and heartbreaking, and like you're giving up something very personal, to win, or to and to save his friend, and then he did it 4 more times. So like I don't. I think Dalinar should have died. I think it makes the story better, but the way he did it too was upsetting.
Yeah, and I guess I think I don't know. Hold on, I had a thought and I can't find it. It flew away.
Yeah.
I wish I had read this book sooner. I was reading a few other books, rereading.
Yeah.
So I didn't have enough time to read Wind and Truth, but I think I'm trying to think of what I remember. I remember being upset with the whole Kaladin thing. I think I've probably gotten used to it now, him being a herald and stuff, but it was so surprising. And I can see few things coming, but not the giant things. So I was blindsided, I guess. And I was like, no, Kaladin, like what? But it's like, with the whole therapist thing, I was like, how much good can you do? These guys are thousands and thousands of years old. You're like in your 20s.
Also,
You haven't suffered.
Someone else pointed out, and I didn't get it on film though, that book 4 was Kaladin's rock bottom, right? It was his darkest moment, and he finally heals by the end of it. And then it's literally the next day in the next book, and he's a mental health expert.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, it's like, book 4 was him falling down the mountain and then picking himself up at the end, but you're still at the bottom of the mountain. Not that you can't look down yet. Like you still have to climb back up. Healing is a journey.
Yeah.
Not like
gonna have to climb with them, and their mountain is way bigger than his because they've been actually tortured for thousands of years over and over, and then they do have to all right, it's time to get back to work.
Yeah.
And I guess Kaladin did that, but yeah, what you were saying about here's a side quest. It's like I don't know, if he had to be all right, it's time to get back to work for these last 10 days, maybe we could understand a little more, just because he had to have done that multiple times.
Well, and just kind of thinking in general about the book. So one of the things that I was also disappointed with is that we got very little of Lift.
Yeah.
I really wanted to see a whole lot more. I know she's going to factor much more into.
Yeah, she gets flashbacks in Arc 2.
But at the same time, it was like, oh, here's a chapter or two just to remind you that she exists, kind of thing. I was a little. Yeah. I felt that was a little lacking, but again, in the scheme of things, I understand maybe that there just wasn't time to devote too much going on, right?
Yeah.
Way too much.
So.
Also, she keeps getting power-ups too, and not using them. She has 3 different magic systems. She's almost Hoyd at this point, and she saved Vasher.
Right.
In the book. She didn't really do anything.
Yeah, exactly.
I was surprised to find myself wanting more Lift because I usually find her a little bit annoying. I'm like I like the character in small doses. I think, and I'm worried. I'm hopefully with the time gap, she'll be much more mature and less annoying.
Well, I teach growing now, to be fair. Yeah. So that
okay, so you're numb to it. You're numb to it. Yeah, but are your middle school students your favorite characters?
Okay, that's fair. Some of them, yes.
They grow on you. So Lift has grown on people.
Yeah, I think it's a good call. I don't hate Lift.
No,
okay, I do. I've talked to a lot of people. I think Lift and Shallan are the most disliked characters. Not everyone, but other people are oh, that one doesn't work for me.
Yeah. Very polarizing, that sort of. Yeah, they kind of are.
That's how I felt with Shallan at the beginning. But now I'm more interested in her. I've had my own kids, so I saw that her being pregnant, and it's so sad of how it got left, which is I think why we think the book is just okay.
Right.
Because
that's one of those.
Now we have to wait That one's a big cliffhanger for me. How is she going to get back? Is Adolin going to know? He doesn't know that she's pregnant,
And
so
goodness
that's
knows
so
Aiden's
sad.
going through a lot right now too.
Yeah.
So I mean, I
In the
kind of
panel,
liked where it
they mentioned
ended,
him
but it
losing his
was,
leg, and I was like, oh yeah, that happened.
that's gonna be
Adolin was the saving grace for me in the book.
right.
Because he was the only one fighting. But he's the reason I didn't put the book down. He kept me going. His plot was great up until the very end for me. How did you feel about his story arc ending with musical chairs?
I don't remember enough.
You win on a technicality. If you sit on the throne, then you own the
That's
country,
right.
right?
Yes.
And so they have to sneak. They have to sneak the little Yanagon. That's the one. Thank you. They have to sneak him in.
Right.
That one I think was hard for me because it's like he has to win because just
The last one with their hand on the Toyota Sonata walks away with the kingdom.
Yeah.
Right.
That one I was like, how is this going to end? Like, how is it going to get out of here? Because it was one of those things where it's like you feel like they have to win. It's just kind of the way that the story goes. Like they're gonna win, but how are they gonna win, and what are they gonna give up? So yeah, that one I was just like, what's gonna happen? Like, I just want to go back to Adolin and read his thing. Like, how's he gonna get out of this?
Oh yeah.
But it was kind of really delightful to see how the Spren really rallied around him, like recognizing him as
the
yes.
Deadeye.
yeah, the Deadeye.
I
So
loved all
I
of
thought that was delightful, and his plate comes back, and yeah. So
That was like not that's the wrong word, but yeah, like that was the most like interesting like world building development for me. Was absolutely like, oh, like, hey, how can we like the Deadeye stuff was fascinating to me. I like the plot point. I didn't love like the philosophy behind his explanation of like oaths are bad,
Like promises.
right? And that comes back. That so like the plot point of bringing him back, and now he has an army of Deadeye of almost Radiants, right? But like philosophically, like the whole series is was building up oaths, and then it was like no, I guess,
which is why I feel like
I think
there's more to go, more to come on that. Like
I think for him, it could have been like how once he found out about his dad murdering his mom, that broke him in such a way that he's like, maybe everything that he's taught me isn't true.
right.
yeah, but that okay.
I think it's kind of like a parallel of like.
But was that connected specifically to oaths though? Because like
Well, I think it's more like
Dalinar's
like
obsession.
his-
This is a very new development in Dalinar's got a colored history,
Yes.
and so like to like that's an interesting point
I just see
you
there's a
make, but I
parallel.
don't know. There is a parallel, but I don't think it applies to his rejection of oaths specifically, because like if you're looking at someone who spends their whole life being bad, and then you can clearly see they're trying to repent at their end of their life, and you're still pissed at them. You just find out they did a big betrayal, and your takeaway is repentance is bad, or like you don't deserve repentance. I just don't see how that specifically connects to him just having a bone to pick with oaths specifically.
I thought that was
but it is
completely
I
spot
think
on.
it's a really good point.
I felt like that was completely spot on. That he's like, okay, I'm rejecting essentially my father and everything about him. Therefore, the oaths also are bad.
Because a lot of times he does talk about, I have to wear my.
And maybe if that's how he explained it, I would like it better. But his just was
he's really mad at him. And
so so the explanation that he uses in the books is
Maybe
I
he
don't
doesn't even
think
know.
But
yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, maybe
He needs-
Still
he
figuring
needs
it out.
therapist Paladin.
I actually really do. I really like your explanation of it. I just don't know if the book did a
Yeah,
good
really
job
like
of
that
saying that that's the reason, right? So Adolin is processing it, and he goes, you don't need to swear an oath to be a good person. And for me, that felt really lazy. That felt like arguments I've heard my entire life. Like,
But that's
like
what I'm saying.
why?
How many
Like
people
marriage
know
is
that
just
have
a
made that
marriage is just a piece of paper. Like I don't need
Oh,
it to
yeah,
be
yeah,
a good
yeah.
person. You're
Right.
like, yeah, but it helps, right?
Which is why I'm
Like it's
saying
an
it.
outward expression of an
Yeah.
inward commitment,
Yes.
and like it shows that.
Which is why I thought it was.
It
makes
felt
perfect
lazy.
sense for Adolin to make that.
Okay. Yeah.
Logically.
Okay.
But how many people do we know that have said things like that? That,
Yeah.
You know, this one piece of whatever you subscribe to is bad.
Yeah.
Therefore, all of it is bad.
I think that is the best point that anyone has made.
All right.
Like if anything could change my mind, I'm gonna have to think about it and probably reread and think like, is that what the book is trying to say? That is
And also-
that's a good. I like
Definitely
that.
for me, it's like if you have something in your head and a way to explain it, you're kind of going to stick with that. But then if somebody else hears that, maybe they have a different way. So like my son at school, if he's feeling upset about something, the way the teacher explained it, I'll explain it in a different way and it makes sense to him. Because I'm like, I know what you're thinking. I know how you think. So having the different points of view of that particular whole thing, it's like if you have it in your own head, you don't try to think around it or think of other reasons.
Right.
Cool.
But
Okay.
Well, yeah, I think I'm not trying to cut you off. If you want to keep talking, that's fine. But yeah, I think it was a good discussion. Thanks for taking 20 minutes out of your day to chat with me. Yeah, anything else you wanted to just
No, this is fun. Yeah.
if we talk about anything else, we'll stay here for another 30
I
minutes.
know.
right.
No, I had a 2-hour conversation last night, and we were so loopy, I didn't even record any of it. But it was really good.
Yeah. Well.
All right, thank you guys so much. It's been a pleasure.
Yes. Thank you.
And that's it for this video. I unfortunately wasn't able to record every conversation I have because I actually had 200 of them. That's right, in addition to doing these long-form interviews, I also polled 200 people at Dragonsteel to gather a statistic on whether or not fans were satisfied with the ending of the series. But that, my friends, is a tale for another video, so stay tuned, because I think you'll be surprised at the results.
That's an interesting twist.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. If it's true, please take a minute to subscribe to the channel, and you can join us along for the ride. And if you pay me, I'll try to be more entertaining, so please consider joining Patreon and getting your name in the credits with pride.
I'd buy that for $1.